here goes. A while back, a subscriber asked me if I would ever do a relaxation slash meditation type of video. And at the time, I believe I responded to him by saying that I never really thought about the idea of doing something like that. I suppose a part of me feels that, well, I don't know if I would be able to help you or assist you in relaxing. But in this episode, I am going to do my version of this. And really, if you watch one of my episodes on how to astral project, you'll see that the first step to leaving your body is your ability to relax. That's step number one. And once you can do that, once you build that foundation, then, well, almost anything is possible, because relaxation can help you to raise your vibrational level once you're at a certain state. So, without further ado, this is my own personal version of a relaxation video. I hope in some way that it helps you. Here we go. So, this is a day that you are going on a trip. And I so love vacation. I so love every part of getting ready to go somewhere, the freedom of it. To not have to worry about the stress of being at work or the stress of other issues in your life. The only thing you have to look forward to is having time for yourself. And so, in this moment, you are in your room and the sun is coming through your window, golden rays of light shining softly, and you have your suitcase right there where the light is bathing it. And slowly you unzip the suitcase. Now, you're not going to be packing to go on this trip. That's the usual thing, that's what we normally do. But not on this particular trip. On this particular trip, you will be unpacking in order to leave. You will be taking things out of that suitcase. So now you've opened it, and this suitcase is so full. It's full of all kinds of things that you've carried with you throughout the day, perhaps throughout the several weeks or months. So many things that have weighed on you for so long. First, there is the anxiety over everything. So let's take that out. First, anxiety. It is chaotic looking, this thing. It's sort of this energy that is jerky and moving around and chaotic, and so we want to unpack that. We don't need that when we go on this trip. So let's take that out and remove that immediately. That's not necessary for us to go. And then there is the stress of all the things that have been happening at work, or if you're a student at school. If you're at work, perhaps you're worried about losing your job, or you're stressed because your boss is putting too much on you and not paying you enough money to do it. And yet you still work hard. You put your heart and soul into what you do. And still, they're not satisfied with that. And they push you even harder. And perhaps in school you do as much work as you can. You work really hard, and yet still it doesn't ever seem to be enough. We're going to take that stress and we're going to take it and put it to the side. It looks kind of like a weight, like a metal ball. And it's been sitting there, and it's really, really been weighing that suitcase down. So we're going to put it aside, and when it hits the floor, it's going to sound like a thump, like a boom, because it's so heavy. And it's such a relief to take that stress out and to breathe, always to breathe. This is going to be such a fun trip. And so we're looking for other things too. Other things to unpack in order to leave. Perhaps the anger that you felt at your spouse or a parent or a loved one. Something that upset you. You got into some argument with them. We're going to take the anger out. It's got that kind of red, fiery look to it. It's hot, burning. In fact, we're going to put on gloves in order to take that out because it's so hot. It's too hot to touch. So we lift the anger out carefully out of that suitcase. And we're going to put that to the side too. Put that in fireproof packaging so it doesn't burn everything down, because we were so angry and we were carrying that around in that suitcase. And now we're gonna take it out. We're gonna put it to the side because we don't need that for this trip, for this vacation. We don't need that. And we're looking for other things. All the things that we think about on a daily basis, how we punish ourselves. Those things, we don't need punishment. Punishment of ourselves, being self-critical. We don't need those things either. So we're going to take those things out too. And they're fairly heavy. And they're kind of jagged too. So we have to be careful with them. In fact, I might recommend that you use gloves to take those out as well. Remove those carefully. All of that. And we're continuing slowly to unpack all of those things that we think about. Fear. Fear is not our enemy. But on this trip, we don't need fear. Fear isn't necessary here where we're going. So we're going to take that out. being afraid that we're going to lose our job or that we're going to lose our house or our apartment or that we're going to lose our loved one, our spouse. None of those things are necessary here. So fear, we can take that out too. Let's just move that to the side. And wow, our suitcase is so much lighter now. I think we're almost ready to go. Just one more thing, and it's muddy and slushy, and we're going to need to drain this one out. This is called worry. And we worry about everything, don't we? Whether it be our jobs or our families, or what's going to happen in 10 or 20 years. How are we going to take care of ourselves? Or what are we going to do to get through each moment, each day? How are we going to do it? We don't need worry for where we're going. So we're going to drain that right out. That muddy, slushy stuff. We're taking that right out of our suitcase. And now we're ready. We're zipping it up. And honestly, it's so light that we could carry it literally with our fingertips at this point, because we've removed all that stuff that's been weighing us down. We've taken out that anchor. And now we're ready to sail away. The airport for this trip isn't far. We'll simply have to walk outside of our door. And it's such a beautiful day. It's so beautiful. The sun, the sky, so blue. It's a beautiful day to just walk to the airport. And because our suitcase is so light, it'll be easy to carry it. So we walk barefoot. Yes, barefoot, and we can feel the warmth of the ground against our feet. There's no chance of anything cutting our foot or anything like that. The road to this airport is smooth and has nothing sharp or jagged. So we can feel the warmth of the ground against our feet as we move. The suitcase balancing on the tips of our fingers. And it isn't long before we enter the airport. But in this airport, there aren't planes. There are people, though. People ready to go on to wherever they're going. But they're not going to use planes to transport them. That's not how we travel. We are going to become the wind. That is how we will move. We will become that element. And as the wind, we will travel to the place that we want to go. And so now we're at the airport and we're just waiting to get checked in. And if we desire, we could talk to the other people that are there, the other folks that are excited about going on their trips. Or we could just be alone, sit quietly, and wait, and breathe. Just breathe, our eyes shut and at peace. And after a while, it's time to go, time to move on to that place of ultimate relaxation. So we stand ready in this place, and slowly we transform into the wind. And the wind is so light and beautiful. Thank goodness we unpacked all those things, because now we can travel with the wind, and nothing, absolutely nothing, will weigh us down. And so, from the ground, from the airport, we rise. Slowly we rise upward toward the sky and above. And as we climb up further and further up into the sky, we can see the airport at a distance. Perhaps we could even see where we came from, our house. It's there. And all the neighborhoods and all the buildings in the distance. It's all there. And suddenly, we're moving. Slowly at first, passing over those neighborhoods and those buildings, seeing the people below. They're so tiny, and the car is so tiny from this distance up. And for us, there's no noise, not like it is for them below. With all the stress and everything that they have, we're floating high above that. And we're moving slowly. And despite our speed, or at least the way it feels as we move, even though it does feel as if we are going slow, the world below is passing by so fast and in silence, except the soft voice of the wind. That's the only thing we can hear as we travel with it, as we are one with it. And suddenly, we're over the ocean, and we're moving past it. And even though we're high above everything, far below we can still see the creatures in the water. We can see the whales and the dolphins and the sharks and the fish. So many different creatures, so many different animals moving through the water as we move through the sky further and further until everything that we see is ocean and we've left the land completely. And as we move, we can also see that the sun is setting in the distance. And there's golden light. And it's so beautiful as it sets. And we move toward that setting sun. It is amazing. All of the colors. And it is so relaxing. And slowly we can see in the distance an island. And the island is set off on its own. It is beautiful. We can see palm trees and there's sand. And the sand, as we move closer, is different than any other sand that we have ever seen, because the grains are like tiny beads of golden light. We descend toward the sand until we land peacefully, softly there. And suddenly, we take our form back, and the wind, that which we were part of, that which we were one with, goes off and waits for us. We breathe, and we take in the sea, its smell, and its sounds. So peaceful. The waves, the water. It's amazing. And we lie down. Beneath us, the sand glowing. And in the distance, from the ocean, something rising quietly, a creature forged of light, almost jellyfish-like, but not dangerous at all. A creature or a being that simply wants to heal us. It comes floating from the water over to us, and we see it. And we know that this being is peaceful. And it descends towards us until slowly it becomes one with us. And now it's time to pack our suitcases full of things that we want to carry back with us when we go home. And this being, this creature is there to help us to do this. So once again, bathed and it's light. We see the suitcase and it opens. We don't need to open the suitcase. It opens automatically. And the being offers us different things to take back with us. We want as much as we can to take back, because the things that we're going to pack don't have weight. They are not heavy. They don't weigh us down. First, this being offers us peace. And peace is like the sand, it glows golden. And it's light and beautiful. And that's the first thing that we pack in, because now we'll have peace of mind, peace in our hearts, peace in our souls. And what else is there that this being can offer us? There is a sense of happiness. And happiness is sort of this white glowing thing that is bright, and it is powerful, and yet it is, again, without weight. And we're going to carry this with us too, along with the happiness. There will be a smile on our faces, because that's what happiness does. It provides a smile. And then there is forgiveness. And when we carry forgiveness in our hearts, it continues to help us every single day. We don't hold grudges anymore. And all the anger from before and anything that's built up goes away. We let it go, because forgiveness helps us to do that. So let's pack that and carry that too, because that's something that we will need. Then there's the shield that this being gives us. And this shield helps keep all those things inside, so that we don't lose them, so that they don't ever go away. We want them to remain inside of us. And we want to protect them from those things that we unpacked in the first place. Because those things, they try to find their way back into our suitcase. But with this shield, it'll help to keep those things out. Then the being offers us the last thing, and that thing is the most important, and that is love. For the creature knows that we do carry love, but the being offers us even more, because we can never have enough. Love has no limits. And so, when we pack that, we pack something that is the most powerful thing in in the universe, and will keep everything else together. And now we can zip our suitcases closed, and we do, because now we have things to take back with us. And although we don't want to go, we don't. We know that we'll be heading back home, back to our lives. But right before, there's just the smallest downpour of what feels like rain. It's like a shower, but like the grains of sand that are golden. These droplets are droplets of golden light, and they bathe us. And it's so pleasant. It's so wonderful to feel that in this moment as the wind comes and we become one with it, and we rise. We rise higher and higher. And we're moving once again, moving at the speed of light and beyond, and yet moving slowly, very slowly, in the same moment. At least that is the feeling. And before we know it, we're descending. And there's no need to go back to the airport again, because this is going to take us home directly. And as we move, we come in like the breeze, our curtains fluttering. And we once again take our form in our room with our suitcase. Now that we have packed our suitcase with all those beautiful things, we're ready to take on the future and to move forward with all of those things inside to help. Thank you for coming on this journey with me. And until next time, take care.